Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here. I'm returning to you again for another episode review for the new Rings of Power Season 2 Episode 2 review. So I'm going to discuss what I watched for this second episode of Lord of the Rings. The Rings of Power Season 2 Episode 2 and let you know my thoughts on this episode overall. So let's dive into this episode review now. With what I watched with this one, I gotta say, this one was about average. It wasn't terrible in any way, but it was probably one of the weaker ones. Like, you have the guy Hallbrand basically going to Celebrimbor in this episode, and he's having an audience with Celebrimbor to try to forge new rings for, sorry, I was looking at my PS4 for a second. So, yeah, he's trying to Hallbrand, also known as Sauron, and now he calls himself Anatar at the end of the episode. And it's like, yeah, he's trying to deceive Celebrimbor into taking a form that he thinks he's this big Lord and Savior in a way. And it's like, no, he's really not. He's a deceiver. He's an evil deceiver. He's an evil lord of darkness, basically. So he just poses as that just to try to confuse people, put them in this illusion that he is this kind of person. But basically, with this episode, I think it was average. It was a little weaker, like I said. I didn't hate it necessarily, but I don't know, it's average to good. There were some good points in it, like the storyline was interesting some of the time, but then as you go through with each character, there are some boring points that I've noticed with the Galadriel's character in this, and the slow talking with the elves and all that. It's understandable, but it drags a little, and not in a good way, but it's fine. It's gonna downgrade some of the episode's rating I'm gonna give it, but for an overall score, 7.5 out of 10 is what I'm feeling for this one. It's an average one. It's a little weaker than the last one, but the storyline is interesting, but it's just some of the characters' performances are hit or miss with this one, depending on which storyline you're going into, for which scene for the character that's being presented to you, and how their performances, with Elrond trying to stay away from Galadriel because of him being betrayed by them accepting the rings in the last episode. I think the last episode was interesting. It was pretty good, but it wasn't one of the best episodes I've seen. It was still pretty good as a season premiere, but overall, I think with this episode, I don't know, just a little weaker. It was interesting, but a little weaker. I'm just hoping the next few episodes have a more interesting premise and an interesting storyline for each character as you see where they go with their story. Like Nori and the Stranger and Poppy as well, they got apparently sucked up into a tornado that the wizard actually engulfed them in when these certain guys were going after her or something. But execution wise, I think this episode was alright, but it's just average. So 7.5 out of 10 is what I'm feeling for Lord of the Rings of Power for Season 2, Episode 2 for this review. I don't know, this one was slightly disappointing, but I have my critiques with this one. And with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this Lord of the Rings of Power Season 2 Episode 2 review. And thanks for watching. Have a good night.